Boys, we are in the midst of a transition from muscle building phase to peaking phase, which means we are unprioritizing the growth of muscles. So we are now prioritizing the acclimation of the central nervous system, which means the squats that I did yesterday make me feel hungover today. It is a upper body focused bodybuilding-esque type of day where we are doing a lot of movements to get a lot of the stretch under a load, because accessories are stretching under a load. So we are prioritizing range of motion as well as reps and quality of reps so that we can put our muscles into a hypoxic state so that we can get more blood flowing to the muscles, get a bit of a stretch, and kind of jumpstart and turbo boost our recovery from the past couple days. Boys, let's get at it today. Why don't we? I was saying today is kind of like a deload, right? We're leaning into range of motion, stretching under a load. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're on our knees because the cable for this is super short, or the tower, rather. But, I mean, you should kind of do this all the time. Because you need to be actively recovering all the time if you're putting forth enough effort. And if you don't need to recover all the time, it means you're not trying hard enough. You need to be recovering from your compound movements, squat, bench, deadlift. And the best tools for that, because there are multiple tools, are your accessories and your cardio. Because cardio increases the efficiency of blood flow to the muscles. So get blood flowing to the area, and bingo, you're doing good, kid. And then your accessories, you try to get them in a hypoxic state, and then you kind of juice that up by increasing the stretches on everything. You get a massive pump. Massive pump means lots of blood flow. Oh, grip was giving out. I have to grab the hooks for the rest, because this is trying to work the back, not the grip and forearms. So we don't want to set our maximum potential gains based on how strong our grip and our forearms are. That's why we use hooks, because it's a back movement, not a grip movement. This hand is not as good as the other hand, because you can really tell if a man masturbates a lot. Because if you look at his hands, very distinctly, you'll see that he has a wedding ring on. Number 505. Oh, killed the grip. $120. That's not good. Yeah, body's probably a bit extra sensitive right now because of squats yesterday. So it's basically panicking, saying we're not recovered enough to be doing this, which is perfect because it steps its game up and it starts and goes more aggressive with the recovery process. So it's good. It's good that it sucks. It's good that things that would normally be easy are kicking my ass right now. That means we're going hard enough. We're not redlining yet, but we're going hard enough. So I started off with 60 pounds on the lat pull down, and I was struggling even with the, oh, there's my thumb. Even with the lifting hooks. And it wasn't failure due to grip once I added the lifting hooks for obvious reasons. It was more of a overly hypoxic response going on in the lats. So the body isn't completely recovered from squats yesterday, which is why we're doing this, getting the blood flow into the areas that require blood flow. But we did reduce the weight down from 60 pounds to 50 pounds for sets of 20 plus 6, 505. So it's like we did a 2 by 26 with the tempo at the end there, with 60 pounds. I don't know if I already said that. And then we finished off with 50 pounds, but the fourth set, the final set, the second set with the 50 pounds, it was kind of like, have you ever stretched so like long that you can't really feel the stretch anymore? That's what it was like. And it was just, it wasn't burning, but it was like I could feel the hypoxic response setting in real quick. So probably maximal amount of recovery going on in those wings, the wing part of the lat. I'm not a fucking exercise scientist. I'm just trying to I'm trying to understand how things happen, and I only know how things connect based on how they feel. So like a pull down sort of thing is gonna build you bigger wings. That's all I know. And then, but I also have the verbiage from exercise scientists and nerds who have taught me along the way. But onto accessories. I mean, everything's an accessory today. But onto face pulls. Program says face pulls with external rotation. So basically, just kind of extend the range of motion past your face. There's a metal bit of the rope attachment for the cable that connects it to the cable, and just basically touch that to your forehead. That's maximum range of motion, maximum squeeze, and then let your shoulders roll forward for the stretch. Oh, the shoulders are not happy. Valentine in December, you say you love me, but you don't remember my name. You cause me pain. All girls are the same. Yeah. I don't love you now. All girls are the same. I don't need you now. All girls are the same. All of these demons that dancing inside, I don't know whether to live or to die, but I keep fighting that feeling inside. I'm gonna ride till I die. Sorry my homies are left to the side. Do you ever think of suicide? Fuck all this pain you can see in my eyes. You fucking around, you gon' pay with your life. Valentine in December, you say you love me, but you don't remember. Things are stiff on the contraction, which means that the stretch is going to be the main part of this movement today. Is going to be beneficial. I do have a little of burn going on, which is a burning feeling. Feel the burn is your body's way of telling you that muscles need oxygen. which means that that burning feeling is your body's way of telling you that you're in the hypoxic response, or you're experiencing hypoxia, which is a lack of oxygen in a certain area, in this case, the muscle fibers, and it's going to send blood to said muscle fibers to help them recover. So, which means that more blood going to its spot, bigger pump, hypoxia, good. I mean, to an extent, you know. But we got a timed rest period, 90 seconds, and I'm gonna ignore you guys and listen to my audiobook. Ugh. Listening to Sufficiently Advanced Magic, Book 1. That's the book I'm listening to right now. It's pretty good. Not fantastic, but good. We're doing dumbbell floor press, right? And when you get strong enough, like usually you kind of like lap the dumbbells and then like kick them up while you're on the floor, or like you hip thrust it just aggressively so that it, like the momentum pulls it so that it's in the correct position. But you get strong enough through years and years of self-loathing and bodily abuse, as we all do for fun, weekly, daily, monthly, annually, on a regular basis, that you get too strong and that setup doesn't work anymore. So they never said strong was smart. Oftentimes they say strong is stupid. You get stupid strong. So strong, you have to do stupid things. This is a stupid thing that I have to do so I can do dumbbell floor press, which I hate. Dumbbell, any sort of floor press is pretty much the upper body equivalent of a leg press. And I haven't figured out how to make myself like it yet. And it's like, I don't like it because, oh, come on. One of these dumbbells is bent. I think it's this one. Doesn't want to, feel like leg press. I've learned to appreciate that leg press is the best apparatus for stretching in the gym. Get a nice deep leg press. You stretch your quads and your knees out real nice. That's nice for that. But also, assholes can load it up as heavy as possible, way heavier than it should be, way heavier than their squat by hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And since leg press is basically the Mad Max of the gym, there's no rules associated with it. So they just get away with it, and then they tell their Tinder date that they leg pressed 1,000 pounds. Floor press is similar. All girls are the same. I don't love you now. All girls are the same. I don't need you now. All girls are the same. All of these demons, they're dancing inside. I don't know whether to live or to die. And the way that dumbbell floor press works, yes, I'm still on this rant, is bigger your triceps get, the smaller the range of motion is. So the stronger you get, the less you have to do it, right? And there's no significant stretch associated with dumbbell floor press. It's like you're limited by the floor, so you can't like pull your dumbbells out further. You're just dumbbell floor pressing straight up and down, which there's no significant way to stretch, and you're just contracting. So you can load it up because when you're getting stronger, you're reducing your range of motion. I just slap my face with that. And so it's like you get good at dumbbell floor press. You're not using leg drive. That's like the thing of dumbbell floor press, but fucking do a Larson press, full range of motion. And it's even better because you also have to stabilize yourself. But it's like floor press is a mix between a Larson press and a Spoto press without any of the positives. So like you can just load, get heavier without accumulating any sort of neural connections, any sort of positive stretch. But it's on the program. I'm supposed to do a 3x8, but I hate doing this yeet setup because I feel like I'm gonna die every time. It's like when you get to the top of a roller coaster and you're like, here we go. But so I hate doing it. But it is what it is. Coach programmed it. And I'm a rule follower by nature. I don't like not following the rules. So I follow the program to a T. Kind of. It's supposed to be a 3x8. I did a 1x24. But it's like, it's supposed to be RPE 9. Because RPE does have a place in lifting for accessories, not compound movements. Coaches who use RPE for compound movements are cheating their clients and not having to think as hard, because you're never going to go as hard as you think you are, or you're going to go way harder than you thought it should have been. And auto-regulation is bullshit. It's just you feeling motivated or demotivated on any certain day, right? So RPE has no place except for accessories. But it's supposed to be RPE 9, which means like 1 rep in reserve, kind of. And I don't get to RPE 9 with the 150s, which is the max dumbbell that we have at the gym, until I'm at like rep 23. Because not like I have 1 or 2 reps in reserve, maybe 1 rep in reserve at the 24th rep. I'm gonna put these away. But the dumbbells over here are such a mess. And I'm just gonna put it in the middle here, like an asshole. Because everyone leaves their stuff here, like an asshole.
Big boy dumbbells.
It's the I just hit puberty dumbbells. Not quite men. But like, first few reps of that were easier than expected because we're starting to prime the CNS. So heavier weights feel lighter because the CNS is ready to get punched in the face. I don't need these. What am I doing? But the your work capacity isn't affected by your CNS. It's just I can squat 1,000 pounds every day, but like I can't, if that makes sense. Those who lift regularly, who've been lifting for a while, understand what I'm saying. New people are gonna have no idea what I'm talking about there. I'm always nervous this isn't set up square enough, and I'm just gonna kick this box out because like I'm also
Want to show off your tummy first? You have a big old meal.
like this cable's got a bit of flex. I gotta kick up in order to even be able to get into lifting position.
But I keep biting that feeling inside. I'm gonna ride till I die. Sorry my homies are left to the side. Do you ever think of suicide? Fuck all this pain you can see in my eyes. You fucking around, you gon' pay with your life. I don't love you now. All girls are the same. I don't need you now. All girls are the same.
Chair was not in the right spot at all. Doing some sort of twisting. Twisting did not feel good on the lower back. 2130. So it's a big load. Kind of 5 plates per side. 450. Given the fact that everything today thus far has absolutely kicked my ass, I opted to reduce the poundage on this next exercise, which is dumbbell curls. Now, last week we discovered that the bicep has 2 functions. There's the general like curling of the arm, but also pronation and supination of the forearms is also attached to the biceps. So the way that we get a better stretch is we try to turn the dumbbells out further so that we can get a better stretch. And since we have large lats, we're probably going to have to go out kind of like here, but we're trying to focus on getting a better bicep stretch, because I mean, we benched on Monday and it's Wednesday, and our body's still feeling a little bit of everything right now. So we're going to try and to lean into the stretches of this, and the fact that everything else is kicking my ass. It is probably a good idea to self-regulate this accessory, since we're doing it for sets of 20, and focus on the eccentric and get muscles in a more hypoxic state through controlled means rather than poundage means. Because I mean, we're doing 3 by 20 with this, sorry, and then we're going up in weight. We're doing a 3 by 8 with heavier dumbbells. So ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Ocean in a shell seems to work fine. Magic beans to sell, you just gotta climb. It's going at the top, yeah, there's no lie. It's going at the top. It's going at the top, yeah, there's no lie. It's going at the top.
I already feel the pump setting in pretty nicely. Feels good. 45, 30, 47, 90 seconds rest. Biceps are hypoxic. That's the goal. We had to kind of change from having our palms facing out on the bottom part because it was causing pain in the elbow, probably due to the turning and having the bones kind of at the elbow where the 2 forearm bones connect. Not having a good time fitting in that spot because muscles are large and inconvenient for everyone except for my own personal goals. Humans were not designed to be this so devilishly handsome and powerful. I'm gonna be an odd duck on this, but I like training in lighter colored clothes for two reasons. The first reason is I am a little chonky, which means I have great means of insulation when it comes to heat. And when you lift and exercise, you produce heat, and darker clothes retain that heat onto you more. But also, when you sweat, it doesn't show that much, so it never really looks like you're putting forth effort. But I like to put forth effort, and I like to see tangible results. Now, there's two tangible results whenever you put forth effort, and there's sweat, which, I mean, as the day goes on, like, some of it evaporates, some of it doesn't while you're training, and the sweatier the shirt gets, the more that you know you've put forth effort. And the other one is a pump, but the pump is temporary, and that's that. So.
Means to an end. Oh.
And so when you do high reps, right, you're pumping, you're getting more hypoxic. You can only get so hypoxic in a certain amount of time, right? So sets that are like 12 to 25 reps and more, you can increase your hypoxic response. But if you go beyond a certain amount, like CrossFit, you get so hypoxic that your body starts to metabolize itself, and that's when Radbo happens and your muscles break down, and you start seeing negatives from doing too much volume, and then injuries happen and stuff like that. But you never get a pump from singles. You never get a pump from doubles. You never get a pump from triples. So, like, if you increase the weight, it doesn't naturally increase the likelihood of the pump. You can still put your body in a hypoxic state, but you're not necessarily helping blood flow to certain areas, because it's almost like a prolonged hypoxic state on a bell curve that yields the benefits of the pump. So we increase the weight, more difficult than getting 20 reps, but the time under tension is different. It's much lower. So we're in the hypoxic state less often, or for less time, so the body doesn't respond as aggressively, so I don't get a big of a pump. But it responds by producing more muscle fibers because I'm lifting heavier. It's not like you're going to naturally develop hyperplasia muscle fibers by getting hypertrophic gains. It doesn't work like that. You got to water both of the saplings so that you can be big and strong like Ronnie, or just strong like me. Daddy. You're daddy. Problem with a lot of strength training principles is that they can be summarized as just lift heavier, or lift faster, lift stronger. And I have a story from back when I was in high school when I played ice hockey. Probably going to start the next video with this story too, because it's an impactful story. But I was always the slowest kid on the hockey team. Like, I mean, I get it, I'm fat, but like, it was a criminal degree of how terrible I was. This angle's not good. Of how terrible my speed was when it came to ice skating. And it slowly chipped away at my ability to be on the starting lineup, because no matter how much effort that I put into strengthening my legs, increasing my cardio, I kept getting slower and slower. Um, and I even got private skating lessons on artificial skating, basically a skating treadmill, with like a harness and everything, for them to try and teach me how to properly skate. And the only thing that I got was point your toe at the corners. I was like, I don't know. So like, the way that I would skate is that I would basically slam my leg into the ice, or my foot into the ice, and that forward momentum would propel, or like would pull me forward. But that's not how you skate. That's how you run. Um, says the fat guy who probably doesn't know how to run. Um, but it's all about extension and the power in the back leg that gets you a lot of the power and a lot of the speed associated with skating. Because like I would be going full effort trying to skate as hard, just skate harder, as hard as possible, and I would get passed by the like super hockey kids. I mean, I played hockey for 11 years, but I get passed by the super hockey kids who would be like D1, or not D1, but all state. We were in Division 3, I think, all state. So my role got mitigated from being like I was a left wing. I was on offense, and my center and right wing, they were first team all state, and then there was me who didn't make even the honorable mentions. But my role was basically make sure they don't get hurt, and if anyone starts bullying them, bully the other person back, right? And but my speed kind of brought that back. But it's only now that in my adult life that I'm realizing that I was skating wrong. It's all about the extension. It basically bikini girl workout, extension of the glute, rather than trying to skate harder into the ice, slamming the foot into the ice. And I don't know if it's on. No, it's not on this YouTube channel, but I can probably try and rip it off of another. I posted my very first hockey goal, high school hockey goal, on YouTube. Pretty cool, but you can see that I'm skating just like so incorrectly, which is another reason why you should be like videoing your sets and stuff, because you learn a lot about whether or not you're lifting correctly, whether or not your form is right, and whether or not you're activating the right muscle groups. So that was just a rant. It's not associated with this at all. I probably could have done it because I've got a timed tricep pushdowns, and I've got the timer on the Fitbit. But that story probably would have lasted longer than the 30 seconds that I've got. And then we finish off with a 5 reps of 505. But it's like that story really relates to like how I'm approaching things now, because I'm breaking things down a little bit more. I'm learning a whole lot more than the sum of all of my time lifting previously. So like in this last year, I've learned more, probably the last 3 months, I've learned more about lifting, stress mitigation, recovery than the previous 10 years combined. Didn't get a good enough stretch on that last one. There we go, that's a good stretch. And it's what you got to do to be successful in lifting, in sports, anything that you're doing, is make yourself a student of whatever you're doing, and just accept that like you're never going to know everything. There's always something new to learn. And just because something's wrong doesn't mean that you should learn about it, because you can learn from other people's mistakes, not just your own. So I've got about 70 seconds of rest left. I'll see you guys for tummy time. So I've got about 8,000 steps left to finish off my, or not left, but so far today I've hit about 8,000 steps. Sorry. Blocking my my mouth. Not that you guys care at all. Ooh, look at that floor. Ooh. That's trying to avoid a nice little copyright, not infringement or strikes or whatever. It just annoys me. And then Reach just gets dive bombed, which is not good for channel growth. So it's best to avoid it when possible. But I hit about 8,000 steps so far today. Very lazy day at work. I did practically nothing and did not feel good about it. It's kind of annoying when you have days like that where you're just existing with no purpose, but you're waiting on other people to give you a purpose. So you don't want to give yourself a purpose because it's going to conflict with the purpose that you are given through others, right? So that was my day, just existing, waiting for orders, waiting for people to come back from lunch, and then they never did. So it's kind of a wasted day for me. Very low motivation, very low activity, just sitting around doing nothing. So I had very low motivation today, very low passive activity today. So 2,000 steps short of the 10,000 step non-negotiable that I have every day. But it's all things considered, I mean, we go to the gym to lift weights that are hard for us, and I believe we successfully achieved that today because everything kicks my ass, whether it be because we changed the training goal. That's nice. Changing the training goal from volume and well, it wasn't really volume, but muscle growth and getting the most growth and gains with the least amount of impact on like recoverability and the muscles, ligaments, making sure I'm as healthy as possible and able to fully recover for the next training session. So a bit of minimal amount of stimulus for maximum amount of growth while maintaining well, it was like maintenance, hypertrophy, whatever. Basically, there's a supply and demand curve of at what point can you at what point is the load and the volume that you're doing going to be at a point where you're not going to be able to recover from it by the time that you're training next, and then it negatively impacts you on the future training days. So the CNS gets a real nice, real long kind of break from the high volume, high veracity training that often comes around competing. So we focus on building muscle growth, building neural connections, building good habits, and recovering as well as possible, so that when it comes time to like step on the gas and peak, we're better suited for the what the efforts that it will take for us to do the things that we need to do in order to have the best performance on the platform. So transitioning, whenever you transition from one to the other, it kicks your ass, basically. So like the first week of training after competing absolutely kicks my ass. But by week 3, I'm adding weight to things. I'm able to progress. I'm done with the accumulation of glycogen and lactic acid in the muscles. So we've adapted to the new training stimulus. Now that we're 13 weeks out from the Ghost Clash, we have to switch the training up again and reacclimate our body to heavier loads, high CNS drive, lower kind of active recovery work where we're doing more singles, more doubles, and more triples rather than doing sets of 5, 6, 8, 12, 20, stuff like that, or the compound movements. And as we do that, if you noticed from the training day yesterday, squats, we had a 3-minute rest period. No, it was bench. We had a 3-minute rest period between the high accommodating resistance training sets. So that's what we are kind of doing. But that sounds a lot like I'm making excuses. So I struggle because the more I learn, the more I know, the more reasoning I can gather behind why things feel the way they do, why things are progressing the way they are, and why that things are the way that they are. But it's almost like it's like a catch-22 because you learn that and then you get more comfortable with the justifications for like things not feeling as good. So you're like, well, it's just because I squatted heavy yesterday. So, I mean, there's nothing more that I can do. No. I have to have a conversation with my nutritionist, say, hey, I'm at increased levels of hunger throughout the day. Think this is, I just got my blood work done and I'm waiting for one of the tests to come back before I send the results to her and my coach to better address everything that has to go on leading into peak. But I have to have a conversation with her and be like, hey, I'm having a little bit of a struggle bus with the recovery aspect associated with this high CNS drive because I'm hungry all the time. And when I'm hungry all the time, I get lethargic. When I'm lethargic, I'm not getting as many steps in, and it's a bit of a struggle to kind of progress forwards the way that we intend for me to progress forwards, right? That makes sense. So if I understand what's going on, then I accept, well, it's just a change. I don't have to look deeper into it because I already know the depths of it. No, it's having those team building, total building, progress driven conversations that need to be had, and understanding why things are the way that they are allow you to buy into the adjustments that need to be made a little more readily, a little more aggressively, a little bit better. So a lot of the training changes that I've made to my training, like you kind of like everyone's like, oh, you need to have maximal range of motion when you're doing your accessories, right? And with rows, I was like, oh, I need to bring whatever implement that I'm rowing all the way to the chest. That's the range of motion that they're talking about, right? No, they're talking about the stretch at the end. But the range of motion. People just keep spurting out. You don't really ever understand, well, what does that mean? Why is that doing that? If you understand, the stretching under a load concept that I've been talking about for a couple weeks now, where the increased range of motion increases your body's, it's stretching under a load, where a reduced amount of range of motion doesn't stretch that, and you're constantly compressing, contracting your muscles. They get tight, they develop tendonitis, and then it gets to the point where they can tear, you can develop injuries, or some sort of chronic illness associated with muscles. But if you understand what it means to have an increased range of motion, then you're able to buy in, okay, I can put my ego at the side, I can reduce the amount of but the amount of weight that I am moving on these accessories, understanding that the goal of the accessories is to kind of jumpstart your recovery, also to develop muscle growth, and learning what the factors are that not mitigate but stimulate muscle growth, like the hypoxic response and how that all works. You learn that sometimes when you're doing an accessory, like, man, this is really heavy, let me take a breath. You learn that no, that's actually allowing your body to recover mid-set, and you're leaning out of the hypoxic response, and it would be better for you to just kind of bite the pillow and continue raw, unless you're doing a compound movement like squat, bench, or deadlift, where I ripped ass and it smells awful. And it's not like I can walk away from it because I'm on a static treadmill. I can taste it. I can taste. But that's awful. I do not apologize for that. I'm proud of that. Proud of my own brand. But where was I? But when you learn why things are, you're able to buy into it a little more. You're able to, because until you admit that you're wrong about something, you won't accept that someone else is right. And that's why it's important to understand the different kind of stratospheres of thought, the different theories that are going around, understanding why they are the way they are. So like if someone does a different program to you, like I'm doing this new modernized, I don't think it even has a name yet. I think it's just talking about rest periods, the adapt or die methodology, kind of. When you look at that and you compare it to Chico, you can understand that why Chico has the program the way that Chico does, and contrast it with what you're doing. Look at the positives and negatives of each of those, and you can understand, well, with the adapt or die method, I'm not moving heavy weight as often as I would in the Chico method. Chico method has very little ability for recovery. So the self-undulation of deloads in both methods is a positive for both of them. It's basically a confirmation of idea or hypothesis that there's this aspect in Chico, this aspect in adapt or die, this aspect in the cube method, where there's a self-undulation of cycled deloads, individual lift deloads, that allows you to kind of get more out of your training than if you didn't have cycled deloads. Like, you don't have to deload your bench as often as you deload your deadlift. No. But also, you learn that you can start to prime your CNS with your least impressive lift. Like my deadlift, I'm starting to prime my CNS. I'm doing a 10 by 1 deficit deadlift tomorrow with 575, which previously I would have been like, there's no fucking way that I'm doing this. But now that I'm tickling on being a 800-pound deadlifter, I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm a bitch. But if you take a step back, you're able to buy into it a little more. Be like, you know what? This makes sense because we're trying to increase the loads that we are handling. We're going to peak our deadlift first. And once we have that peaked, we're going to be able to peak the rest of our lifts. But we can take a foot off the gas a little bit on the deadlift because it's already peaked. And your CNS is primed for peaking your squat and your bench. And this is all based on my own experience. You peak your deadlift and you peak your bench and your squat after your deadlift. And your CNS is primed still, so you can mitigate the fatigue associated with peaking your deadlift and kind of filter that out while keeping the CNS high. So I'll probably have my deadlift peaked like 5-6 weeks out, but I'll still be trying to work to peak my squat and bench probably like 2 to 3 weeks out. And that entire time from 5 or 6 weeks out, it's a game day where I'm not deadlifting super heavy, but I'm doing a bit of volume with singles. That means that my deadlift is still kind of like if you're boiling water in a kettle, it's like right before it's whistling, you get on the platform, you got all three of those already peaked with a minimal amount of fatigue in your deadlift. You've got an appropriate amount of fatigue in your squat, which is 0, because you've probably taken like 1.5 weeks off of squatting, or like heavy squats, keeping muscle movement going and kind of keeping that primed, muscle moving, joints lubricated, and probably taking about a week of light benches to because fatigue drops off a bench way faster than with the other two. It drops off way faster with squats and deadlifts are kind of relatable because they both really impact the CNS, and whichever one of yours is worse, you can peak earlier, and the CNS firing on all cylinders is going to allow you to keep that one peaked while you're peaking your more impressive lift. For me, that's my squat. So understanding how like you can juggle these variables and buy into what you're doing, understanding it a little better makes it work a little better, because if you're skeptical, hesitant about something, you're not going to stick your dick in all the way. You're going to play just the tip with it, and doing just the tip doesn't build champions. But anyways, I've got let me check, 200 steps left, and then tummy time. So I lied before saying I'd meet you back with tummy time because I'm doing cardio. So I'll meet you back with tummy time in like 2 minutes. I'm back in upper body day, so let's look at the back and the upper body. Ooh, t-shirt was tight on the biceps. So, I can't really see anything here. Well, let's look at the back. So, for those of you who survived my rambling with polysyllabic words, that was induced by me doing cardio. And if I have to suffer, you have to suffer too. That's how this works. I mean, cardio isn't that hard. It's not really suffering anymore. Now that I have built up a cardiovascular capacity, I don't struggle with cardio anymore. It's just annoying to do, if that makes sense. But pretty decent training day. It's like everything was hard, which is good. And there's no way that you get weaker overnight, kind of like you don't get stronger overnight. But the fact that everything kicked my ass means that the potential for getting stronger is right around the corner, because that means that my body is in recovery, which is which is good. So pretty good training day, pretty good pumps. I have a back pump right now that I want to go. When you are my size, right? And that's going to be like 275 or greater. And I mean, I am able to be fluffy if I were to cut down, I'd probably be like somewhere between 275 and 310 somewhere. Which that's not my goal. But when you have significant mass on your arms, that means that your body has to keep it upright. So a lot of times people struggle being so heavy because it's hard on their knees, it's hard on their back, it's hard on their joints and whatnot, because they're not properly addressing the things that need to be addressed in order to be as big as can be, basically. So with me, my arms are very heavy. That's the closest thing to struggling I have with. And everyone gets this. We talk about back pumps. I don't get lower back pumps. I get upper back pumps because my arms are so heavy and my body has to hold up my arms, and there's no way around it, which might contribute to why my back is so strong and powerful. Not to toot my own horn, but I get a lot of back volume just by existing. But it's getting late, and I got to edit this video, put it up, and I'm totally not going to listen to that long cardio ramble, because not all the blood was in my brain. But I do know I made some pretty good points. It's just whether it's just like I probably talked in a spiral, or not spiral, but like telephone, like you know the old telephone cords that would always get tangled because you'd try to talk in the other room, you'd stretch them out, and then they'd come back and they'd like twirl up and get all tangled, and you just wanted to hang yourself with them. Like I feel like I was talking like that, where it's like everything I was talking was in circles, but I did progress a little. It was coiled. I'm talking in coils, where I'm talking in circles, but points are getting made, and I'm progressing what I'm talking about. But I am talking in circles, which some people do find a little annoying. But that's just I'm trying to not filter myself and give you guys what I actually talk about, because before I used to spend lots of time editing out all my cyclic talking, but it's just how I talk, and that was just me talking in a circle. But good training day. Looking forward to the rest of the week because we've got an exciting deadlift day tomorrow. 575, 10 singles, 1 inch deficit. I believe it's 60 seconds rest, which I'm excited for. That's really all I can say. I hope you guys are excited too, because I will see you guys there. All of you, you will be there. I command it. I will post it at probably like 10 p.m. because that's like I get home, I eat my dinner, and then I edit my video. And while the editing is exporting from the app that I use to edit my videos, I take all my supplements, and then when it's fully compiled, I post it to YouTube after I make a thumbnail, and then I go take a shower. And it's not always completely posted by the time I'm done taking a shower. So like I sometimes I'll post the thumbnail on Instagram the day after. But that's where we're at. Deadlift day tomorrow. See you there. Patty out.